Last week, I got hit with a really bad flu, but instead of resting, I actually made a terrible decision. Hot. I kept on working. For some reason, I just felt so guilty about taking a break. With like this huge deadline coming up for the current project I'm working on for work, I didn't want to take a break because I didn't want to be the missing link in our team. Well, does this sound familiar to you? At some point, you're just so sick and tired, like literally, and you feel so scared to take a break. Yes, it happens to everybody. For some reason, I thought pushing myself through will make me more productive, but actually it didn't. Well, instead, what happened was I actually turned a 2-hour workload into a full-day struggle. And by the weekend, I was a total wreck. And then still, I made myself to sit in front of the computer to work on my YouTube channel, even though I had no creative juices flowing in my head. And because I felt so guilty just lying in bed, like sleeping and resting, I would actually put on like a podcast in the background. So somehow mentally, I don't feel like I'm wasting my life away. Well, it's the guilt. You know the feeling, right? Resting somehow feels like a failure.
It sucks to be sick.
But here's the thing. What if we've been getting this all wrong? Today, I'm gonna unpack why powering through isn't the flex you think it is, and how shifting our mindset around rest can actually make us more productive. Well, let me tell you about a book that completely shifted my mindset around rest. It's The Power of Full Engagement. This book isn't like a lot of like other productivity books which tells you about how to manage your time better. Well, instead, it's actually about how to manage your energy, which ultimately leads to your peak performance and feeling genuinely renewed. It actually reminded of something that I desperately needed to hear last week. Resting isn't a luxury, it is actually a strategy. Well, the authors explains it beautifully by comparing life to the way the athletes are trained. Well, think about it, right? Athletes just don't train non-stop. They push really hard, yes, when they're training, but then they intentionally actually take the time to rest and recover. It's actually the key to getting stronger for their next challenge. And guess what? The same goes for us in our daily lives. The book breaks energy into 4 key areas. It is the physical, the emotional, the mental, and the spiritual. And the book goes on into details to demonstrate how managing these key areas is crucial for staying on top of your game. And here are the main principles that really hit home for me. Well, principle 1, frame rest as a strategic investment. Well, here's the truth. It is the energy that you put into the work, not the time, that is actually the real currency for productivity. Well, if you're anything like me, you probably fall into the same trap of thinking that the more time you put into work, the more productive you are. Well, spoiler alert, that's not how it works. Well, take last week, for example. I forced myself to power through a whole week of work, and then the tasks usually take me 2 hours to complete, dragged on forever. If anything, I actually wasted more time. So I actually really learned the lesson here. I need to stop seeing rest as not doing anything. Instead, I should really frame it as a way to renew my energy and then to recharge my energy battery so I can hit the ground running later, faster. Well, think of it this way, right? You wouldn't run a whole entire marathon without taking any water breaks. The same goes for work, right? And principle number 2, honor your body's signals. You know those warning signs when your body is screaming for a break? Like sometimes your eyes literally couldn't focus. Yes, I ignored them too. And guess what happens next? The total burnout. And then later, the recovery time sometimes takes weeks or even months. During that period, usually my productivity just tanks. Here's the change I'm trying to make. Whenever my body says stop, I will listen. So really, next time I feel sick or drained, I'll take a full day for recovery. No guilt, no half measures. Sometimes taking a full day for rest and recovery can save you weeks of low energy slogging. Think of it as pause, so you can come back stronger. And principle number 3, focus on quality, not quantity. Well, here's a myth that we need to bust. Grinding endlessly does not equal getting more done. It's probably the opposite. Working in focused sprints with recovery breaks can actually give you better results and make you feel you're more human. I've been guilty of turning my life into a long, endless work marathon, working through the weekends, skipping breaks, then thinking I'm getting ahead. But honestly, all these years and weeks of pressure piling up has taken a toll. Well, no downtime means no recovery. And that's what drains me emotionally and mentally. Here's my new plan. Weekends are for recharging, not for catching up with my work. Whether it's exploring new hobbies, taking a walk, or just relaxing really. I need to focus on refueling my emotional energy tank. And principle 4, redefine productivity. Well, let's get real. Being productive does not always mean you are doing something, right? It's about doing what matters most with full energy. But here's the tough part. You need to break free from the belief that you're only worthy when you're being productive. And here's the trick I'm trying. When I feel guilty about resting, I ask myself 2 questions. Am I doing this task at the expense of my energy or mental health? And if my best friend were in my shoes, would I tell them to power through or tell them to rest? The answer is pretty obvious, right? And these questions really stopped me from the guilt and remind me that rest is just as valuable as work. And principle number 5, build rituals for renewal. It is these simple habits that help you recharge without actually overthinking it. Like for me, personally, I would light up a scented candle before going to bed, or just like taking really long walks. These are the things that can really help renew my energy level, and they work wonders. And it's not really about those like big, complicated plans. It is really this little things that you do, that you add into your routine, can make your brain and body know, okay, it's time to rest. And here's a story that I really want to share with you guys that really opened my eyes about it is the energy instead of the time that you put into work that matters more in terms of being productive. So one Friday afternoon, just as I was getting ready to leave, I got this last-minute assignment, a report that is due next Monday. My first instinct was, okay, here goes my weekend. But the issue is I had already made plans to go to Shenzhen that weekend. There's this newly opened indoor amusement park that I really want to explore. So I really thought about canceling that plan because work comes first, right? But then I hesitated because, I feel like it is not fair to cancel the plans last minute. So I made a deal with myself. I'd go on the trip, enjoy the weekend, and then on the next Monday, I'll just try to wake up as early as possible and then try to get the report done. It really felt like a mission impossible. I was thinking having to get a whole report done in a few hours before work on Monday, but I went through with it. That weekend, I went to Shenzhen, and honestly, I had the best time in a really long time. I played pool, I played race cars, I played bowling, even had my favorite Peking duck. So delicious. It was just one of those days that really filled up my tank of emotional energy. And by the time I got home, I felt completely recharged. And here is the surprising part. On that Monday, I woke up early as planned, sat down, and then really finished the report in just a few hours before work. What I thought would take me a whole weekend got done faster and better, only because I had the energy to focus on my work. It was just such a clear reminder for myself. Productivity is not about time, it is about energy. So please, if you feel burnout, just take a break. Taking a break was not a waste. It was exactly what I needed to show up and do my best. So how can you actually start implementing these principles into actionable steps? Here's what I recommend. Number 1, track your energy patterns. Really spend a week to record the highs and lows of your energy levels. What activities really boost your energy levels and what activities actually drain you. This simple exercise will help you uncover your natural rhythm and give you the insight into how to better manage your energy throughout the day. Step number 2, establish rituals to boost your energy levels. Pick one small ritual for each area of energy: the physical, the emotional, mental, and spiritual. And keep it simple. Here are some examples. For physical energy, for example, you can start a day by doing some light stretches or taking a quick walk, or set a reminder for hourly breaks to just stand up and then move around a little. For emotional energy, what I plan to do is write down 3 things that I feel grateful for at the end of the day, or just 20 minutes every day to connect with a friend or a family member. For mental energy, try to declutter your mind with a priority list. For spiritual energy, reflect on your purpose. Ask yourself, why does this matter? And how does it really fit into the bigger picture of my goal? Number 3, create a routine that really works for you. Here's a sample routine routine to get you started. But in the morning, you can work on your physical and spiritual routine. You can stretch for 5 minutes and then reflect on one thing that you're excited about for that day. During midday, you can work on a physical or mental routine by taking a 10-minute walk after lunch to really wake up and refresh your mind and body. And then in the afternoon, you can follow up with like a 90-minute really focused work block and then take another 15-minute break. And then in the evening, you can work on your emotional or spiritual ritual by writing down 3 things that you feel grateful for that day. Maybe take 5 minutes just to see how your actions aligns with your goals. Take another 15 and 20 minutes to call a friend or a family member just to catch up. And number 4, which I think is also the most important step, is to really reevaluate what you have achieved. And you can actually specifically set aside some time on Sunday and really take the time to reflect on what has worked and what hasn't worked during the whole week of practicing these rituals to try to reset your energy and adjust them as needed. Keep the ones that have worked and then change the rituals that really didn't click with you and swap them with some new ones. Keep experimenting till you really find the rituals that work with your lifestyle and your personality. And the most important thing is, don't forget to celebrate the success, no matter how small they are. Remember, even the tiniest improvements will add up over time. And number 5, you can start small and then really stay consistent. Okay, let's be real. Life happens, things get in the way. You really don't have to be perfect all at once. You won't have the time to do everything that you plan. Pick 1 or 2 rituals that you feel the most enjoyable and excited about to start with, and then build from there. Remember, progress is not about perfection. It is really about consistency. And by creating these small but intentional habits, you're not just avoiding burnout. Here's the best part. You won't feel guilty about resting anymore because you know resting actually fits into the bigger picture of productivity. It is a part of your productivity plan. And thanks for watching. If you find this helpful, let me know in the comment what rituals that you're thinking of trying to practice. Or you can share your own ideas. Till next time, take care and stay energized.